endorse the NFIB's legislative agenda, which includes opposition to any further increases in the federal minimum wage, relaxation of certain requirements on business under the Americans with Disabilities Act. How do you feel about things like that? Are you on board?
Well, I think what we have to look at whenever we're talking about minimum wage increases is where is our economy at this particular point, and how is that going to impact the businesses that are going to have to pay those wages. And I think that's part of what I bring to the table, is understanding the consequences that affect the business by putting mandatory increases in place. It's the fellow who's running the retail store that's hiring kids to wrap presents at Christmas time, and it's all the way down to that level. And how can you afford all of those different services? So I think all of the business plans that are being put forward in government today, we need to review and to make sure what those consequences are.
Would you have supported the Fair Trade Standards Act?
You're talking about from yesterday?
No, 1938.
When? Look, I am for free
The Fair
trade.
Wage Standards Act implemented the minimum wage law in this country in 1938, and it was ruled constitutional in 1941. Would you have supported it?
Look, what I said relative to wage increases, okay, I can only hear. What I said about wage increases, look, we can be reflective on our history about when things were put in place and what they were put in place for. I think today, when we're looking at whether or not wage increases ought to go forward in our state and in our country, we have to look at our total economy and the impact on them.
You told me 2 weeks ago that you would not seek any endorsements and you did not plan. What changed your mind?
I am very happy to accept the endorsement here this morning. I did not seek this endorsement. I was very happy that it came forward from the NFIB on my behalf, and certainly welcome that endorsement.
It comes from a political action committee. Is it accompanied by a contribution, and will you accept that contribution?
It is not accompanied by a contribution. One was not sought nor offered, and I will maintain what I have said from the beginning of the campaign, that I would not accept PAC or special interest money. I've been accepting contributions from individuals up to $100.
Getting back to Mark's question, do you think there should be a minimum wage?
Well, a minimum wage now in our country, I think we've set that, and so there are a lot of people who've benefited from that, but I think we need to review how much it ought to be and whether or not we ought to have increases in the minimum wage. And if it is, how is it planned? Does it get tied to inflation? Are there just automatic increases in it? And I think that we should always review the policies that have been put in place to make sure that they are in keeping with today and the needs of today.
But is it reduced now? Should it be reduced now? Since businesses are struggling, as you all described, would you argue for reducing the minimum wage?
Well, I think we've got minimum wages in states, we've got minimum wages in the government, and I think we ought to look at all of those issues in terms of what mandates are being placed on businesses and can they afford them. I think we should get input from our business community. We should listen to our small business operators, and we should hear what it is they have to say and how it's impacting their business and make some of those decisions.